Hello there. We are here today on Outside the Box 2020 to talk a little bit about how we're all having to think outside of the box and adjust to these crazy times. And today I have Luis Perez. He's with Certified Mortgage Planners, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what's happening in the mortgage industry and how he's being forced to think outside of the box and act outside of the box. How are you doing today, Luis?
I'm doing good, Jannis. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Yes, thank you for coming and talking to us. So mortgages are kind of a hot topic, even though things are crazy and none of us really know what to do day to day. It's still a hot topic. There are things to think about, whether you're paying your mortgage or refinancing or you're looking to buy a new home. Tell us a little bit about the role that you play in the mortgage industry.
As a branch manager, I've got my day-to-day roles. I'm a producing branch manager, so I'm right there in the trenches with everybody. So, I'm feeling the same pain that everybody's experiencing in our industry. And, we're always looking for alternative solutions to get ahead of the game, stay ahead of the competition. Much like as the reasoning for, having this conversation is, and your topic outside the box is really just trying to think outside the box of what we'll do to get ahead of this. People are struggling with, loss of employment. There's the federal, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're coming out, with forbearance programs to try to help people out, the stimulus package to help massage and help people, absorb this a little bit. And so we're seeing it at all ends. There was, 3.5 weeks ago, there was a huge mass influx of refinances, which really put lenders at a huge capacity, to where they almost had to influence the market to manipulate that to slow it down by, even so much as, hedging the interest rates to almost make it not as attractive to refinance right now, to kind of slow some of that refinance business and focus more on just purchase business currently in our business. So there's just a lot of things going on, and we're just trying to navigate the waters just like everybody else.
So are you seeing a lot of refinancing, or is that kind of, how does it look right now compared to normal?
It's not normal. Let's just put it that way. I would say that, I'm probably sitting on a good amount of refinance opportunities right now that, unless they're putting themselves in a position to consolidate some debt, and create an additional cash flow situation, regardless of rate, the added value of just doing a rate and term right now is not as beneficial as it was 3.5 weeks ago. At the early part of this month, I'd say roughly, to even pinpoint it, say March 5th, where we were at, 3 weeks ago, was an incredibly different mortgage rate environment than we're at right now. And so I'm advising some clients to hold off right now, unless it's, something of an absolute circumstance of necessity. And they still can continue to maintain their employment, because we're running into situations that, there's a lot of people in jeopardy of potentially being furloughed, being laid off, or, these impacted industries right now that are in the hospitality or service industry that, currently aren't working.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Let me ask you a question about new loans. So I know that there are people who were in the process of buying a new home, or maybe have decided now's the time to go ahead and do that. Are you still processing new loans?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as a company, we're probably going to have the largest month that we've had in the history of our company this month.
Really?
And even some of the investors that we work with, one of them specifically is going to close more loans this month than they've done the entire quarter, historically. And so it's, although we're experiencing some extremely challenging times, I would estimate the forecast going further. The ones that are still in a position that aren't impacted by some of the tightened credit score requirements, risk negotiating that, lenders are implementing some layered risk overlays to protect their investment, just to ensure that, people aren't going to have first payment defaults, or, 3 months down the road, if they're a shaky file, that, they're going to not be in a position to make that mortgage payment going forward. So they're implementing some safety nets, but I think it's going to force a cleaner file. I think that's just going to offer some reassurance for the lenders that are continuing to do business. We as a company are always trying to position ourselves ahead of the game. So, some of them are increasing overlays. We've also incorporated some that still give us the flexibility to do some things and help our realtor partners close business that perhaps some of the local competition won't be able to offer.
Well, tell me a little bit about how the new process looks for you. I know traditionally somebody would come into your office and sit down, fill out a paperwork and that sort of thing. And you can't do that when you go to closing. There are lots of opportunities in your business to do, face-to-face, one-to-one kind of interaction. And obviously we can't do that now. So what are you doing to overcome that?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because, even getting back in the business a few years back, technology had evolved so much that, sometimes we'd send an online application and sometimes not really even get to meet the client until the closing table. And now we can't even do that. So, it's definitely, with challenges comes innovation. And, there's always been some digital platforms that we've been or had access to utilize. I think that we've, spearheaded that quite a bit. Our company subscribes to a couple coaching platforms to, help generate business and, alternative ways to focus on, through accountability. And one of those is focusing on doing those belly to bellies, those one-to-ones. And so now we're finding that through leveraging some video email platforms and things like Zoom has really allowed us to, I think, more so hone our craft. Some of the other people that resist change and were scared of implementing things like this. Oh, I don't like the way I look on camera. I'm more concerned about, the number of ums I'm going to say, or if I fumble or stutter on my words because I'm nervous in a video chat environment. But really, it lets you be human. And, once you get over that fear that, hey, I'm just a regular person, just like you, just trying to help people, real person help real people, achieve their goal of homeownership. And if you just, check out of that mindset and just do it, you get over that real quick.
I agree. I agree with that completely. It's funny that you mention it because, I've been in a business for a long time that encourages the use of webinars and videos and that sort of thing. And I've done a little bit over the years. I do a lot of training. I do a lot of in-person training, and I've always resisted the video piece of it, just for all the reasons that you said. And I have a client that does a fabulous job at live videos, and she and I were talking, and I told her I admired her so much for doing that. And she said, well, I have a little secret for you. She said, I have never one time watched one of my videos. After I shoot it, she said, it's one and done. That's it. I don't judge myself. And I catch myself in the last few days video calling people where I resisted doing that, just on a personal level. So we're all becoming more comfortable with this kind of technology and a little less critical of ourselves. What pieces of this is a conversation I had this morning that I'd love to hear your input on. What pieces of the changes that we are seeing now, the outside of the box pieces, do you think could possibly affect the way that we do business moving forward after this is over in the mortgage industry specifically? Do you see anything that's modified that may stick, that may become part of just the way it's done now?
I think that this has probably been progressing to this current digital phase. We have so many millennials now that, they're people in today's society. You can call ahead and get your groceries.
Yes.
You can get your groceries delivered. You can order them online and drive up and pick it up, and then people just bring them to your car. I just think that that's where we've been progressing as a society in general. And I think I think this is here to stay. The people that embrace it are going to find themselves ahead of the curve and be more successful. As in the real estate industry as a whole, I mean, realtors have been doing Facebook Lives. They've been doing virtual tours. They've been doing virtual walkthroughs with their clients from out of state, and sometimes sight unseen, other than somebody with their video camera walking through the house, explaining the features and getting them to, almost touch it, feel it, hold it virtually per se, and then falling in love with the home. So, I mean, it's really changed the industry. And I think it's just really going to force people to embrace it further. And those that don't, it's going to be, they'll become the Toys R Us of the industry, because so many people are offering that as a service, which rehumanizes it on a digital level, and really allows you to still connect with people.
I absolutely agree 100% on all of that. Talking about the virtual tours for real estate, you had mentioned that to me when we spoke yesterday, and I thought that I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. That's a great approach, and really pretty simple. I think pretty simple to facilitate. But tell me a little bit more about that.
Pretty innovative.
I do too.
I think it's, I think that it gives realtors an opportunity to connect even more people, even on a social media level, that people are apprehensive, and especially now in the current environment with everybody, so concerned of, catching this coronavirus, and just being so germ conscious that, now you can host a virtual open house, do virtual tours, and just really take it, just take the bull by the horns, and, make it happen.
Yeah. I think it's good. Yeah, I think some parts of this is, although it's pretty painful at the moment for all of us. I got up this morning and got a notification that the boat race, which was scheduled for May 15th here in Cocoa Beach, was canceled. And
that's right.
That's the first thing I saw when I got up this morning. And and I joke about it a little bit. I'm like, how is life going to go on? And boat races are canceled. It's just terrible.
That boat race is huge. I remember last year we watched it from one of the rooftops of one of the local establishments. It was pretty neat.
It's one of my favorite events, and it's really kind of shaken me this morning. And it's not as much about the boat race per se. Obviously I'm sad that, the boat race is not going to happen, but there are triggers every day. I talked to somebody else today who said, yeah, I've got some triggers. My birthday's coming up, and I've rescheduled 3 times, what I'm going to do for my birthday celebration. And it's a trigger, and it may seem small to somebody else, but it can really affect us. And
I mean, it's affected businesses, birthdays, people that planned weddings.
Oh, that's huge.
I've got a friend next month that's, scheduled to have their wedding. And, so basically everybody that was coming in from out of town, unless they loosen the belt, they said, listen, why don't you guys just stay home, save yourself some money. And, of course it saves them money too.
Yeah.
But, the local people that are not scared to attend, and what kind of venue they'll still have, I have no idea. Who knows if they just do a virtual wedding.
Right. And, it's so funny you bring that up, because I was thinking about it yesterday, collaborating with someone on a virtual live concerts platform that they're putting together right now. That's pretty exciting. And I've seen several, virtual live concert events in the last few days. That's become quite a popular activity. I don't know if it's something you've done or not. You get to see your local bands and hear their music, and while you're at home. And I thought, I have a client that's in the wedding industry, and she's a planner and coordinator and officiant. And I thought, I wonder if they're doing virtual weddings, because you could do it. Yeah, they would still be exposed to each other, the couple and the officiant, however they handle that. But I think you could keep it to a minimum, keep that 6 foot. I don't know about the bride and groom keeping the 6 foot distance, but that's not for me to judge. But you could do a virtual wedding and everybody sits in. My granddaughter's birthday's coming up, and she's pretty upset. It's a significant birthday for her, and we're working on having a virtual birthday party. We'll all mail our gifts to her, and then we're going to set up a Zoom call. We'll probably have, 10, 12, 15 family members who will chime in, and we'll be able to watch her cut the cake, blow out the candles, and open her presents. And it's different, but we're gotta deal with it.
We gotta adapt and overcome.
We do indeed. We do. Well, Louis, tell me where your office is, and we wrap this up a little bit. Where's your office?
Uh, our office is in, technically it's in Rockledge.
Okay.
It's 7115 Turner Road, Rockledge, Florida, 32955. But it's really more so Melbourne. We're just in a Rockledge demographic because we're across the railroad tracks, but it's
Gotcha.
right off Century Boulevard between Wickham and US 1.
Not that it matters, because none of us are coming to see you at your office. We do not even care where your office is, but which brings a good point. So what geographic area do you serve? Now that where your office is really doesn't matter to us much at all. Where can you serve?
We can actually, so our license is allows us to do business over the entire state of Florida.
Nice.
Most of where I focus my attention is the local market here in Brevard County. But, I do occasionally get the one-offs that are purchasing in Kissimmee, Naples. My old stomping ground where I grew up at was over in the Hillsborough County area, the Tampa area. Went to high school and college out there. So occasionally I get the, request for information, some help there. But the majority of my focus is in Brevard County.
All right, let me ask you one more question before we wrap up. So a lot of people, first-time home buyers, that's scary enough situation all by itself. First-time home buyer, you have no idea what to expect, what to do. And now with the restrictions that we have, it's even more so, we all kind of feel like we're out here on our own, just trying to navigate this thing. And so that doesn't have to be the case. And you can go one step further than talking on the phone. None of us really like to talk on the phone. Before this, I always joked and said, don't call me, text me. Here's my phone number. Don't call me, text me.
I used to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And at first, it's like, and it's just like that you just mentioned. For a while there, I resisted the whole texting platform. I said, I used to be the individuals like, just pick up the phone and call me. You know what I mean? And then before we knew it, picking up the phone and calling somebody was a thing of the past, because really it was just, I just want to be direct. I want to be to the point. I just want to shoot a text and I'm on to the next thing, what I got going on.
Yeah. So now we've taken it to a whole nother level. So I have always liked the idea of having, video conferences like this. I've always thought in my mind that was a good thing. But prior to now, being forced into this situation, even I have to admit that I really didn't do it. And now though, so are you open if someone is interested, say they're in a position, they're thinking about buying a home and they want to talk about the ins and outs of what needs to be done, and are they positioned? Do they have everything that they need? That sort of thing. Is it an option for you, or is it something that you're actually doing on a regular basis for them to contact you and you to schedule a call like this, like what we're doing today, where you're looking at each other face to face? It's the next best thing to being across the desk from one another.
Yeah, because, with this platform, I can just as easily go through the same, interview process with taking the mortgage application. As I'm talking to them, I can be filling out the information in our software, address any questions that they have. And, I can share my screen and go over materials that I would have presented to them otherwise that would have been face-to-face, go over the nuts and bolts of what it takes to purchase a home, and really hone in on the what on the realtor side they would say is a buyer's consultation is very similar on our end too, and then just incorporating that so they know from start to finish what to expect.
And then going even deeper, I guess it'd be feasible to pull in the real estate agent to have a full conversation with everybody at the table.
Yeah, we used to invite realtors to come in and sit down if the client was open to it. I know that we discussed, some sensitive information with them, but if they were open to it, very rarely do they get the opportunity to see what we do on our end as far as, the interview process and taking that information and working the pre-approval with them and discussing that and, and help bring value to them so that they understand, so that they can communicate on our end what we need. So it makes it much easier for us to work cohesively together. So being able to do it through a Zoom meeting too is just as advantageous.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be good. Like I said, these are not new platforms for many of us. Yourself, like you mentioned before, myself, I've used this for a long time, just never really well, two things. Wasn't required to use it.
Right.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
the only way to get this job done.
Right.
And two, there were still a large percentage of people out there that just said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not willing to do it. I had a conference call yesterday, Monday, I had a conference call. Get this was cool. So I had two of my contractors. One's in Orlando. I'm in Cocoa Beach. I'm looking out there at the beaches. If you can see it, there's the beach out there.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, it's right over there. So I'm in Cocoa Beach. One of my contractors is in Orlando. Another is outside of Athens, up in Georgia. And the client is in South Georgia, about an hour from Waycross or so. And so the four of us got on, and, in the past, like I said, these technologies have been available to us for a long time. And I use them, I have them, but never one time did I ever do what we did. And the four of us sat here, we had the grid. I could see all three of the other people who were in the room, and we had one of the most productive conversations that I've ever had with this particular client, because we had all the stakeholders at the table, even though we were all over the place. And yeah, it was really, really good. So it's challenging times. It's tough. We're all a little bit stressed out, but there are good things that are coming out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lewis. I appreciate your time so much. Maybe in a couple, 2-3 weeks, when we get things rolling a little bit further, you can come back and give us an update on what's going on in the mortgage industry as a whole. And I hope things continue to go well for you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, Jannis. I always love chit-chatting with you and getting to catch up. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.